Absolutely, you can sell your home for sale by owner. And if you're not using a real estate agent to list your home for sale, you could be saving that 3% it costs. And on a $500,000 home, that's like $15,000. If you plan on going this route, there are definitely some things you need to know, though. Here are a few tools to help you get your home sold on your own. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Victor with How to Sell Your Home, and we put out videos every week about just that, how to sell your home. Whether you're thinking about doing it on your own or using a real estate agent, we'd be happy to help you out with answering any questions that you have about the home selling process. Thank you so much to everybody who has reached out. We're always happy to help. One of the biggest factors when selling your own home for sale by owner that we see kind of a lot of for sale by owners make this mistake is making sure that the home is sold as quickly as possible. The amount of days that a home is on the market before you accept a buyer's offer really affects the asking price or the sold price that you can get for a home. Now, it's different in every state, every city. Your city might have an average of 14 days for the amount of time that a home is on the market. We call this days on market. Where I'm from in our area, the average amount of days that a home is on the market is 4 or 5 days. So if in my area, a home is on the market for more than 4 or 5 days, like if it's on the market for 14 days, many times buyers begin to think that there's something wrong with the home and it doesn't necessarily get as high of a purchase price. If in your area, the average days on market is 21 days or 30 days, then that's totally acceptable. You don't want to get past that mark. Whatever the average is, you want to make sure that you keep it below that. And there are multiple things that you can do to make sure a home is sold quickly, even if you have to make some adjustments. In fact, we have an entire video about just that, how to sell your home quickly. You can check it out in our channel page. But that is definitely one of the biggest factors and one of the biggest mistakes that we see for sale by owners making. You have to answer every phone call. You got to talk to every potential buyer to make sure that the home is sold as quickly as possible. Always the ultimate goal is to get multiple offers. You want those bidding wars, and those tend to happen earlier in the listing. It usually happens in the first few days or weeks. You don't tend to get bidding wars 30 days after you list the home. You want to create as much buzz as possible to get that home sold above your asking price. Another thing that you definitely want to think about is just how much you list your home at, like the listing price or the asking price. Obviously, if you list it too high, then you might not get as much attention on the home. People might not be interested in it. And if you list it too low, then you could be selling yourself short and leaving money on the table. So you want to have the appropriate list price for the home. And the best way to do that is to kind of see the average for the area where your home is. You can see the amount that a house has been sold for. You can see that on Zillow or Redfin, any of those kind of home selling platforms. They tend to have the records for how much a home is sold for. And then you want to go back maybe 3 to 6 months to see those homes being sold. You don't really want to go farther than 6 months. Maybe if there are not a lot of homes like yours, then maybe a year is acceptable. But typically the market changes so much, especially in the last few years, that 6 months ago, a year ago, was kind of a different market. So you really don't want to go that far back, again, unless it's absolutely necessary. And then you kind of take the average. I would say most listing agents don't take the average of all of the homes sold. They usually take the average of like the best homes that are sold, or it might be that the home that you're selling is a fixer-upper. So you take the average sold price of the fixer-uppers, not all of the homes. You don't want to average in move-in ready homes, obviously, if you're selling a fixer-upper, and vice versa. You don't want to be considering fixer-uppers if you're selling a move-in ready home. Two very different home selling strategies for those. Again, we made a whole video about how to find the appropriate list price for your home. It's on our channel page. Definitely go check it out. But one of the biggest factors in what price you list your home at is whether it's a buyer's market or a seller's market. For example, if it's a seller's market, you might be able to list the home a little higher than the average. Again, because there are a lot of buyers and not enough sellers. So you can kind of err on the high side. And if it's a buyer's market, that is that there's a lot more sellers than there is buyers, then you might have to err a little bit on the underside of the average. So really what kind of market you're in is one of the factors in determining the price of a home. Again, check out that video we made all about how to price your home when you're selling. Another really hot topic is whether or not you have to pay the realtor commissions. If you're selling your home on your own, you obviously don't have to pay for an agent to list your home, but should you pay for the buyer's agent's commission? And you do not have to, absolutely no requirement to do so. But keep in mind, because it's kind of normal or standard for sellers to pay a buyer's agent some amount of commission, if you don't pay a buyer's agent, then you're kind of competing with all of the other homes that are paying a buyer's agent. So if you think about that, you kind of will make it difficult for you to compete with the others if it's normal for them to pay a buyer's agent. This is really one of the biggest factors when selling your home. You want to make sure that lots of buyer's agents are seeing this home, that they are including this home in their client's search. And if you're not paying a buyer's agent could very easily skip over it. Is it okay for a buyer's agent to skip over your home if you're not paying them? Absolutely not. It's not okay. Unless, of course, the buyer is unable to pay their own agent. If the buyer is not able to afford their own agent's commission, it could be that they're only looking at homes where the seller is paying the buyer's agent. So this is why most sellers pay for buyer's agent's commission. And again, if you don't do it, it could be difficult. Again, if it's an extreme seller's market, you could be able to get away with that. Certainly possible. And it's not a requirement. It's just that most sellers do it. So because of that, it would be hard to compete with those sellers if you're not paying the buyer's agent's commission. In fact, you may have heard recently in the news about the settlement between the National Association of Realtors and the group of sellers. It's a class action lawsuit. Of course, if you're watching this video years later, maybe you didn't hear about it in the news, but at the time of filming this video, it was something that was really big in the news, and there was a big lawsuit, and the National Association of Realtors just recently settled with the sellers in this lawsuit. And one of the parts of this settlement is that they have to now make it very clear, that is, real estate agents have to make it very clear to clients that all commissions are negotiable. Again, it's always been negotiable. That hasn't changed necessarily, but they want to make extra clear that this is negotiable, that sellers and buyers are not required to pay commission. And so that's certainly something that you want to consider. In fact, I made a whole video about how the NAR settlement has affected the commissions and whether or not you need to pay commissions, and you can check that out in the channel page for the video. So let's talk about something else, and this next factor is actually a really important one that I think is kind of a deal breaker for many people who are considering for sale by owner, can make or break your listing, and that is using professional photography. It is totally, in my opinion, unacceptable to take pictures of a home with a cell phone camera and post those on Zillow or Realtor.com or whatever to try to sell your home. Like, those pictures are the worst. And this is the very first thing that a buyer is going to look at when considering purchasing your home. They're going to look at those pictures. And if the pictures look terrible, but the home is awesome, chances are they're not going to come see the home. But if the pictures are amazing and the home is like kind of iffy, at least you're still going to get people to come see the home. So pictures are an absolute must, and using a professional photographer makes the world of difference when doing photography. In fact, even videography, in my opinion, using videography is even better, especially if you're doing like online ads, Facebook ads, Instagram, YouTube ads. This is really best done with somebody going on a tour of the home using video instead of photography. It gives the buyer a much better sense of the layout of the home, the flow of the home. You really can't get that from photography. So videography is a really big one when selling your home. And then many people want to know, do we need to list the home on the MLS? No, you absolutely do not need to use the MLS to list a home. You'll get more exposure if you list the home on an MLS with a listing agent. You absolutely will get more people seeing the home for sale, but it's absolutely not a requirement. Using websites like Zillow or Redfin, Realtor.com, Trulia, all of these websites are great. And this is really where buyers go to see homes that are for sale. You can list your home on those websites. Now, they might charge. As a real estate agent, I don't know if they charge, because when you list it on the MLS, those websites, Trulia, Redfin, they pull directly from the MLS. They populate from the MLS, and we pay the MLS. So I'm not sure if Zillow charges to list on there. They might have like a flat rate, but I don't think it's very much to list the home for sale on there, but absolutely is not a requirement, but it is a very good idea. Strongly recommended to list on all of those third-party home selling platforms if you're trying to sell your home for sale by owner. Depending on where you're selling your home and the circumstances around the sale of your home, like whether it's a buyer's market or seller's market, or all of the different factors, really determines what kind of strategy you use to sell your home. Using the right strategy will be able to get you the most amount of money, and if you're using the wrong strategy, you could be leaving money on the table. So the circumstances really affect what strategy you use, and we made an entire video, you can check it out right here, about the best strategies when selling your home. I'll see you in the next video.